Morning to all. My name, as he said, is Elmer Sutton, and I was in the Air Force from 1960 to 65. I did my basic in Texas for 7 weeks, and after that, I got shipped out to California, which was near Marysville. Everybody can hear me so far? Okay? While I was there, they started me out in what they call civil engineering. Well, to me, I felt like I was just wearing a uniform at that time and was doing civilian work with the military people. About halfway through, they came and said they needed someone in field maintenance, which made me feel more, excuse me for a minute. While I was in civil engineering, I more or less took care of doing building work. When somebody had a rough night, so they decided to punch a hole in the wall, you go ahead and got to go back and patch the wall and repaint the room maybe for them. Some of the colors you didn't have to do. But when I got in the field maintenance, like I said, I started feeling more as if I was a military person then than what I did while I was in civil engineering. In the field maintenance, I worked on B-52, KC-135, and H-19, which is a helicopter. And we also had ground equipment that we had to do to help support the aircraft, like the Hound Dogs, missiles. And I did that. When I finally got out of service, I was an airman first class. But I was also fortunate enough in one way, while I was there at the base, to help make a movie. And maybe some of you have seen it, or at least maybe your parents have it, which is called The Gathering of the Eagle. So I did meet a few, say, popular movie stars. And our job then was to keep 2 airplanes up to date for them while they were filming the movie. And I was fortunate enough to have my first daughter and son while I was still in the military. I'm also fortunate to have a granddaughter that is sitting down here in the 3rd row, who is attending Wayne Central School. And I also have 2 others that are also attending Wayne Central School. And I don't want to put Joe down, but I am also graduated of Wayne Central High School. And I hope that all of you will never have to go and put maybe your life up to keep us free during your time or anybody else's time. God bless all of you, and thank you.
Next, we'll move on to Carrie Pickard. Maybe you recognize Mrs. Pickard. Karen Pickard works next door to my room on 21D, and she works with Mrs. Goff in that classroom. Mrs. Pickard served in Korea. I've been to Korea, and I don't envy you at all there. He is a current member of the Ontario Legion and retired from the U.S. Army. So, Mr. Pickard.
Thank everybody for coming. My schooling, I started out in Wolcott, New York, at a school named Leavenworth. And we had a lot of comments when I was in service, that I graduated from Leavenworth, which is now the North Rose Wolcott school system. So, but when I was there, why, they kidded me, why, you like graduated from Leavenworth? But anyhow, enough of that. After about 6 months of graduating, I decided to go into the service. So, in January of 1964, I enlisted in the Army. I took my basic training in Fort Dix, New Jersey, in January through March, and with sand and snow down there, it wasn't very fun. Then after that, I graduated and went to Aberdeen Proving Grounds, where I took my advanced training in wheel vehicle maintenance, and I could have gone into track equipment too also, but I sort of leaned toward the wheel vehicle, so. And then after that, I was assigned to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the home of the 82nd Airborne. And you don't know how many people wanted me to go airborne, not my team. But after about a year there, I was reassigned to South Korea. I was over in South Korea about 13 months. How we got there was on a big troop carrier, the USS Gordon. And believe it or not, some of the pictures you see of servicemen stacked 5 high on a transport carrier, on a ship, that's what we were doing. We had 5,000 men on that ship, and they wouldn't tell us where they were going, and this is during the Vietnam buildup. So in Oakland, we got on the ship, and luckily the ship went north of Japan instead of south. So we ended up over in Sasebo, Japan, which is on the far side, and got off and relaxed for about 18 hours before we went to Korea. Well, and when getting to Korea, we actually got off on landing crafts. The bay there in Incheon was so shallow the troop carrier couldn't get in close enough. So after we got off on landing crafts, we were transported not by bus, by back of 6-wheeler trucks, believe it or not, still, and to north of Seoul. At that time, there was some activity, but not much in Korea. I did go twice up to the DMZ on a tour. Luckily, nothing was happening that time, but from myself to the end of the wall over there, that's how close I was to North Korea. And it was spooky. While in Korea, something nice happened. We had a village outside of our compound, and they would bring the kids in on Sunday and serve them a meal. And we got a pretty good rapport from the locals. And this went on every month. I was there for 13 months. After the 13 months was done, instead of taking the troop carrier back, we took a plane. And then we landed in Seattle, Washington. We had to refuel in Japan, then we had to fly to Seattle. But then I took a month off, went home, said hi to everybody. But believe it or not, in all my woes, there was a plane strike when I was supposed to go back to Seattle. I was stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington. Guess what? I took a bus trip across the United States. It was very interesting, up to the Badlands of North Dakota and so on. While I was finishing up my duty at Fort Lewis, Washington, they didn't find me much to do, so I volunteered to drive a school bus, tech school bus. It was a military bus, like the little ones. And I would drove to the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, picked up military personnel and brought them back, and vice versa. And I did this for about 6 months before I retired. I got out of the service. And when I left the service, I was a E5, a specialist. It's the same thing as a buck sergeant. But after the service, I spent about 30 years at Kodak, and then I retired from there. And I've been working away with American Legion in Ontario ever since. I'm currently the adjutant of the post. I have some other titles which I won't mention, but that brings me up to date. Thank you, everybody.
Although Mr. Pickard did mention being in Korea, which is absolutely a beautiful country, when you're standing at the demilitarized zone, and again, you can stand from where I'm standing to the back, and that's North Korea, and you see people with automatic weapons pointed right at you. And you see places where they take pot shots at the buildings behind you. You realize that is the world's most hostile border. It's very scary, and it's a very, very scary regime up there that we don't really understand. So we do have quite a few soldiers stationed there full time to protect South Korea in case, God forbid, North Korea decides to invade them. So that's definitely a big job. So, and this is Mr. Goff, and if you recognize his last name, his daughter-in-law, Mrs. Goff, is one of our wonderful math teachers. But his son Frank also was a former wing teacher. So turned it over to Mr. Goff. He's U.S. Army Reserve 68. That's Vietnam time. Also served in the DMZ. So what a wonderful place.
Is this working? Good. I like to stand when I speak. I'm better thinking on my feet. My first responsibility here today is to extend a regret. My amigo, Dick Ruby, who usually is here with me, he was a veteran from Vietnam, served 2 tours in Vietnam. Unfortunately, he could not be here this morning because he had pressing business concerns. I keep trying to convince him to retire, but he won't listen to me. But he sends his regrets because he really enjoys coming out here. We've been doing this dog pony show, as we call it, for many years now, and I can tell you that he really looks forward to seeing you guys every year. So, anyway, he sends a message, and his message is, war is not the answer. Okay? I'll leave you with that. Now, about myself. I am pretty unique among the group of people we have up here in that I was drafted into the U.S. military. At the time that I went in, it was the height of the Vietnam War. I mentioned the 10 offensive. It was taking place at the time that I reported, was inducted into the U.S. Army in February of 1968. Did my basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia. Did my advanced training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, where I was trained as an 11B, which is a grunt. I'm an infantryman. Went home on leave to see my girlfriend, who is now my wife of 46 years. Said goodbye to my family and went to Fort Lewis, Washington again. By that time, things had progressed a little bit. I flew over. I didn't have to take a troop ship. And so I reported to Korea. You wonder why, with everything going on in Vietnam, I didn't go there. Well, the answer is very simple. I had a brother that was there at that time. He was serving with the Marines in the 1st Air Wing up at Chu Lai, Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. And because of the Sullivan Law, I could not be sent to the same combat zone that my brother was serving in. As a result, in the training battalion that I went through, there were 3 of us that did not go to Vietnam. The other 2 went to Hawaii, and I went to Korea. I'm still not over that. I still have issues with that, you know. I get up every morning and I say, why me, you know. But anyway, I got to Korea, and as I say, I was a trained infantryman. I was assigned to the 7th Infantry Division, which is a very old and a proud unit. It's been deactivated several times, Fort Lewis, Washington, I believe, and is a headquarters division for several units that are serving in global war on terrorism over in the Iraq and Afghanistan theater. But I got there, and every time that you report to a new unit, you have to take a battery test. You know, they want to see if you got any spark when you went through basic training. So I took my test, and as you can see, I'm a fairly good-sized guy. So they said, well, hey, we'll make you an MP. So they did. They made me an MP, which is military policeman, which all these people up here hate. That's okay. I'm still going to say that's what I did. But the job of an MP in Korea was a little bit different than a standard MP in the United States, in that from time to time we would have to take infantry units up to the demilitarized zone. And we would spend time up there while the one unit would get all their material together, get ready to be replaced by the other unit. They'd step out and a new unit would step in. So we would go up there and we would spend a little time looking across the border. Only we didn't go up as tourists, we had rifles, okay? And they were loaded, and we had standing orders that if certain things happened, we were to shoot. And we did. I can tell you that. We were Korean. As a matter of fact, November 2nd of this year marks the 50th anniversary of a really pivotal event in my life. That was the first ambush of what they call the Second Korean War. It ran for about 3 years. It is virtually unknown by most people in the United States. But it was a period of time when activity on the DMZ and south of the DMZ got very hostile. There were GIs killed with regularity. They were ambushed. As a matter of fact, the North Korean commandos that would come across the border actually got as far as Seoul and attempted to assassinate the president of the Republic of Korea. They were engaged in a running firefight for the 30 miles from Seoul to the DMZ, their entry and exit point, and only one of them made it back. The rest of them were taken care of effectively by U.S. and ROK infantry. So it was a very, very nasty time over there. Everywhere that we went, we had to be very careful because they were infiltrators. It was a lot like the war on terror that you're seeing now. As a matter of fact, it got so bad that about the same time that I got there, they brought in a special forces unit just to patrol the mountains in the area around Camp Casey, where I was stationed, which was about 7 miles from DMZ. They were there to take care of these people. They would do anything to get into the country and wreak havoc. They would come in by submarines on the coast. They would come through the barrier fence and wreak havoc. Now, it was really a bad situation, and we had a very enlightened commanding general of the 8th Army at that time. His name was General Bonesteel. Now, when most of these guys, when he was in Korea, the barrier was basically just an engineering tape that stretched from one side of the country to the other. General Bonesteel says, well, how are you going to keep them out with an engineering tape? So he put up a fence all the way across the country. And it was a tall chain link fence, similar to what you have around your playground, top with barbed wire. And then the area on this side of the fence and the other side of the fence to the center line, which is the military demarcation line. They used Agent Orange to cut down all of the brush. And so we would patrol, if we had to, out in that DMZ. And he said that he was in the most horrible place. I'll tell you, the DMZ in Korea is the spookiest place in the world. It is really, really scary. And if you're an infantryman and you're out there in the zone, you have to be very careful, because you'll be talking to your buddy and say, hey, Mac, what are we gonna do when we get off our patrol and we're going into town? Well, you get back and get into your compound and the North Korean speakers would start and to say, hey, Mac, we're coming to get you tonight. Okay, it was psychological. I mean, it freaked people out. So we usually did not communicate, or if we did communicate, we communicated with hand signals, and we didn't use anybody's name to keep them from doing just that. So I did my time, okay, and I determined the military was not for me. Don't get me wrong, I would not trade my experience in the service for anything. I would do it again, right? But I wouldn't trade it. And I've often said, and I mean this sincerely, I got my real education when I was in the Army. And by that I say I learned how to live with different people from all parts of the country, different classes, social classes, races. At the time I was in, we didn't have to deal with female soldiers. They still had what they called the WACs. They were segregated. And I didn't see one the whole time that I was overseas. They had them in stateside units, but not overseas. So, but anyway, I learned how to live with people. Secondly, I learned what is really important. And believe me, a lot of the stuff that we feel is important is really not important when you're living on a basic level day to day, trying to survive. And the third thing and most important thing is I became a very good judge of human character, and I know who I can depend on. Right? That is very important. If you do nothing else in life, learn that. You have people that you think are your friends, but make sure that you depend on when the going gets rough. Are they going to be there? Are they going to have your back? Okay? If they are, cherish a good friend. In closing, when I got back, I went to work and married my wife and raised 3 children. Proud of my kids. They're all successes in life so far. And, I have 6 wonderful grandchildren, including Lorraine's twin boys, who are very special. So with that, I will close, and I again want to thank you for inviting me here. I look forward to this event every year, and if you have any questions in the question and answer period, I'll be glad to try to answer them. Thank you very much.
Other thing about the DMZ, we have never actually signed a peace treaty. The Korean conflict was never declared war. And this refers to the demilitarized zone, and it's just at some points 4 kilometers wide, and it's just an area where neither the North Koreans or the South Koreans are allowed to go in. But it's just a very, very, very scary place. And as recently as a couple of years ago, a young lady was walking along the shore, and she was from Australia, and for walking, she should have known where she was walking, but she crossed the border, and unfortunately the North Korean sentries killed her. It was an international incident. There was nothing you could do because nobody communicates with North Korea, I think, except China. So it's a very, very touchy place, but it is a place with American keeps her eyes on it, and we feel responsible for it. So, anyway, if you guys have questions, and I hope you do, the History Club people will be happy to help you out, so I believe they will be, what's that? Pardon? I just called Mr. Miller. Well, just for the record, my normal brain is at Van Bortle Ford, and I'm on my rental this week. I apologize, Nick, so...